Hi everyone, Steve Chrysler here from Bookkeeping Life. Today I want to talk to you about an email I received from a potential client. She had gone on to my website and I have a submit form on there. She filled it out and clicked submit, and it comes to my email. And let me read that to you right here. So she says, "Hi, I came across your business on Yelp and I wanted to reach out and see if you can teach me the basics of bookkeeping. I will pay for your time and probably have you set up my husband and his bookkeeping for the 2020 year, but set me up so I can do it on my own the rest of the year, maybe 2 months of your time. We have a lot of properties, businesses, credit cards that we have to sort through. So please email or call whenever you get a chance." So I did call her. This was 2 days ago. And she was in her car driving, it sounded like to me, and turns out her husband was with her. And so as she was talking to me right off the bat, I said, because I called her, I said, "Hi, this is Steve, and I received your email requesting some bookkeeping help and wanted to see what you had going on." And she said, "Yeah." So she basically told me that they have a lot of properties. They buy properties and they form an LLC for each property, and they have quite a few properties, which means quite a few LLCs, and they don't have any bookkeeping for them at all. So there's always a hassle with creating the numbers for tax season. And obviously she knows that she needs to have better bookkeeping. So her initial thoughts were that I would come teach her how to do bookkeeping and get everything ironed out in a matter of no time. Well, I let her know that each one of those LLCs needs to have its own QuickBooks file, and because each one is a separate tax entity, and so it should have its own bookkeeping. And so that was new information to her. And then she also thought that asked me if she could come sit with me, or I'd come sit with her and teach her the bookkeeping. And I just don't do that anymore. I used to do that kind of thing, and you might do that thing, so that's fine. But where I'm at with my career right now, I don't do that. I would have to charge a lot to do that. It's just not something I enjoy doing anymore, or never really did. So I don't care to do that anymore. I would price it so high that they wouldn't do it anyways. But when you're just starting out, you do want to do stuff like that. You want to, and it's not always necessary. Like in this case, you'll see when I carry on with the story. It wasn't necessary. So I told her, well, I don't really do that anymore, or I really don't do that. But what I can do is this. What I can do is, because they've got a lot of companies, and she made it clear to me that and even in her email, she made it clear that it's something that she wants to do herself. She just doesn't know how to do it. She doesn't know how to set it up. So what I said is, what we can do is pick one of the LLCs. I can set it up for her, and what I told her to do is pick one. I asked her, are all these brand new, or are some of them old, or any of them new this year? And she let me know that there's old ones, there's new ones. So I said, why don't you pick, because we want to start simple, so pick one that started this year ideally. And she confirmed that there was one that's just a couple months old. And so I told her that we'd start with that one. All I would need from her is the bank statements and credit cards for that particular LLC. She could email those to me, and that I would set up her QuickBooks, and then to turn it back over to her, and then she could take a look at it, ask me questions on it, give it a go herself if she wants to. She may decide that she doesn't want to mess with it when she actually sees what's involved in it, and then we just take it from there. Just do one company, let her see what it looks like, how it's done, and then or what it looks like when it's set up, and then she could start doing all her other ones, or she may just have me do this. So it's a really good opportunity. It sounds like a good client, and she was nice, she was polite, And so I told her what I would need from her is the PDFs for the bank statements and credit cards used for that particular LLC. And also I instructed her that she would need to go to QuickBooks Online, sign up for QuickBooks Online, and then invite me to the QuickBooks file by using my email address. And I told her when we got off the phone, even though she submitted her information to an email address that's not the email address that I use for QuickBooks Online. I use a different email address for that. So I told her when we get off the phone that I would email her and let her know what email address to invite me to. So that's very important, that they invite you to the correct email address, otherwise it won't work. So that's the whole gist of the conversation. I determined what her needs were. She gave me a overview of her situation. She told me what she thought she needed, but I determined that it's not what she needed. She didn't need to sit down with me and watch me start a company file and set it up and go through that. That's an option. It's an absolutely good option, but it's just not where what I want to do. The level of bookkeeping that I want to do. I don't want to sit down with a client and show them how to do it anymore. But like I said, I did for many years, and that's something that you just kind of have to do, or may have to do, when you're just starting out, and that's okay. So it's kind of all of part of the paying your dues thing. Then you learn a lot about yourself, and you meet your clients, and that's nice. And, all that stuff's really good experience. But so for me, after the phone call, like I said, I emailed her, let her know what email address to invite me to, said it was nice speaking with her, and then she replied right away that they were leaving for a trip for a week, and that as soon as they got back, she would contact me and let me know, invite me to the QuickBooks file. So whether that happens or not, that's outside my control now. I did the best I could, and it does sound like she will follow through with that at some point anyways, and then I'll be able to help her. So then when that does come in, when I do get the invite, she won't have set up the company file, but she'll have signed up for it, and then I'll be able to go in, and she'll have sent me the PDFs of her bank accounts and credit cards, and I'll go ahead and get those initiated, set up, and enter any information that has transpired since the beginning and the creation of those accounts, since they're only a couple months old. So it's an ideal client and situation to start the company file and just get a couple months in, so that I could turn it back over to her and she could run with it potentially. So there's a couple things or at least one thing that I did not, kind of avoided a more sticky and complicated situation. I didn't start with one of her companies that has been around for several years, because that involves more complex level of bookkeeping, because we would have had to determine a starting point. It might not have been the beginning of this year. It might have been a prior year. So it's a much bigger project. It's a company that doesn't have any books but has been around for a couple of years is a bigger project than a company that's just been around for a couple months, obviously. So I wanted to start off with something simple so that I could turn it over to her. She could learn on that simple one, and then if she wanted to grow, as she grows her experience, she could move on to the next more difficult one, then the next more difficult one, and by the time she got to the most difficult ones, I'm not sure how many they have, but let's say they have 5. By the time she got to the 5th one, she will have had all that experience, and then just keep stepping up her experience, because she's wanting to do her own bookkeeping. And it may turn out that she doesn't want to do her own bookkeeping, and then that would be a good client for me to have. It sounds like she'd be easy to work with, and there's a decent amount of work there, it sounds like. So, and lots of different companies. So it could be a good chunk of change each month. So anyways, that is one example of a typical potential client interaction. They are all different, because she was talking to her husband during the process. He was saying one thing, and then she would convey it to me, and then I would say something to her, and then I would say it in a way for her to say it to him so that he understood what we were talking about. So, but you know, every situation is different. Every client is a little bit different. You know, the bookkeeping side of things is relatively the same when it all finally irons itself out and you're just doing it on a monthly basis. But getting that, determining what the client situation is, what they think their needs are, what you determine their needs to truly be, and then conveying that to them, everybody being on the same page, ready to move forward, telling them what you need from them, getting what you need from them. All of that is a process, and it's an art form, really. But you will get better with it and at it over time. And in the beginning, you know, it's not going to be perfect, and it's never like 100% perfect. But you just get better with it over time. So stick with it and give it a go. Just remember, there's always more clients after them. Just do your best. Like right now, it's out of my hands. I'm not gonna email her again in a week or two and say, hey, what about, remember our call? Did you want to move forward with that? I don't do that. She knows what's going on. She got my email. She had replied to it, said that she'd move on it in a week. If she does, great. If not, that's just fine. There'll be more clients behind her contacting me. So just do your best. Just remain calm. Talk to them just like you talk to any other human being, and if you do your best, that's all you can do. And then if you get the client, great. If you don't, that's just fine too. You'll get the next one, or maybe the next one. All right, hang in there. And I hope this is a really good example for you of just one example of many, many different ways that a client call can go. But determine their needs, see what their situation is. What they really need may not be what they think they need. So you're going to be the professional that helps them determine what their real needs are, and then you lay it out for them and let them know what you need from them, and make yourself easy to communicate with, and you may get the job and you may not. All right, I hope you have a great day. I hope this is helpful. If it is, please like and share it. And leave any comments below. And if you have any questions, you can email me at steve@bookkeepinglife.com. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.